Hey everyone, Kyle Meinke here, Detroit Lions beat writer for MLive.com, joined by Justin Rogers. Just wrapping up the first day of minicamp here in Nellen Park. And Justin, the biggest storyline of the week has been, of the day has been Ndamukong Suh and his absence from the 2 weeks of conditioning, and now today the opening of minicamp. He was one of just three players not to show up, and the other two had reasons. Chris Houston's nursing a toe injury. Lions wouldn't confirm that he's got the injury, but yeah, we're told that it's a toe injury. Carlin Isles is off playing rugby in Scotland. He's a non-factor anyway, even if he were here. So the big issue is Ndamukong Suh, a captain, an important player to this team, a dominant defensive player, and whether or not he should be here for a minicamp that is voluntary, but at the same time he is a captain and all these things. Where I've written about it a lot this week. You know where I stand. I think you should be here. Where do you land on the issue?
We agree in that capacity. I think Sue should be here. It's a voluntary minicamp. It's collectively bargained that way. Players don't have to be here. But as a leader of a team with a new coaching staff that's installing a defense, you can have your hands on a playbook, but to be there with your teammates, talking, asking questions, seeing it put together on the field, he should be here for these early stages. That said, I also think it's too big of an issue. I think it kind of dominated today, first day of minicamp, first day of spring, whatever you want to call it. It's a chance to talk about what's happening, what's new, and Stephen Tulloch. We talked to Raiola today, and they were just peppered with questions too, from all directions, and it seemed like a bit much for my taste.
But that's what happens when a star like Sue makes a decision like this, right? This could be anticipated. This wasn't a surprise, and that's part of the problem that I saw with Sue's decision is that he puts his teammates in this position to answer for him, and they have to say certain things whether or not they believe it. They have to say they have to side with Sue, and who knows how they really feel. But this is a problem, and I think that to me it's just that Sue's putting his teammates in a position that they don't want to be in.
Absolutely. And again, I agree. I don't think it's a distraction. I think the distraction is a bit driven by us, not Kyle and I, but by the collective media. But I don't think it's seeped into the locker room at this point. I don't think Stephen Tulloch can't put up that last rep on the bench press because he's thinking about where in the world is Ndamukong Suh. But again, he's a leader. New defenses being put in. Tulloch talked a little bit today about hinted at more blitzing with the linebackers. That's a relationship, a symbiotic relationship with the defensive line that Sue needs to understand. And every day he's not here, he starts falling behind. It's not lifting weights. We're talking about the playbook now and the installation of defensive plays and schemes. And he should be here for that. Contract issues or not.
Right. I don't think anyone questions his fitness. Again, I've written about this, and as others have as well. But no one questions his fitness. He's going to be a great player whenever he does show up, and that's not a question here. I just think personally that as a captain, it's incumbent upon him to take a leadership role, and it's pretty hard to have a leadership role when you're off on a beach in Oregon or wherever he is right now, surely training and getting better, but away from his team as the team begins to adopt these new schemes and get comfortable. So many things are going to be changing, and I don't know how much is going to change for the defensive line, but I think some of it is going to. The line's going to be more aggressive in this new scheme. There's going to be more blitzes, and Sue's responsibilities are going to change. And as you said, Justin, you can look at a playbook, but that's not the same thing as being here with his teammates, arm in arm, building a chemistry, and getting focused on kind of turning the page from a disappointing 2013 and being better in 2014.
Yeah, and I don't know how the defense is going to change either, but I know it's going to look different. We know there's at least going to be multiple fronts, and they experimented with that a little bit. But previously, Ndamukong Suh's job was to attack a gap, and the linebackers behind him had to read that gap. They played off of him. And in this new scheme, I think there'll be a little bit more give and take. He'll have to be aware of what's going on behind him a little bit more than he was in the previous scheme, and it's important that he becomes accustomed to that as quickly as possible.
Right. It's voluntary, and we both get that. One of the counterpoints that I've seen brought up quite a bit is that Sue's done this before and he succeeded with it, so just let him do his thing and he shows up when he shows up. I just see this offseason as being different than his previous off seasons because of the coaching change, because of the schemes changing, and because of the fact that this is his first off season as a captain. I mean, things have changed. His role on the team has changed. It's evolved, and I think that places more the responsibility for the team's performance on Sue, whereas he's not just responsible for himself anymore. and that's why I see his place on the team has changed, and that makes it again more incumbent on him to be here, in my opinion.
Yeah, and maybe he doesn't care, but there is a growing perception. It's not a media perception. It's a fan perception. If you look at Ndamukong Suh's Twitter feeds and the way people react to him, there's this perception that he doesn't want to be here, and there's nothing really to say that's not true. But his actions right now
Right.
are there. We don't have words. We don't have him saying, "I want to be here." Again, like he has in the previous years. All we have is his absence to tell us,
Mm-hmm. Having said all of that, the turnout for the Lions was very good today. Only the three players didn't show up. Jim Caldwell was very pleased with who did show up. With all the work that was done today, Dominic Raiola referred to it as having the best tempo that he's seen in a long time, and so I think the Lions were pleased with the first day, even if one of their big stars wasn't here. I think this was a very productive first day for the Lions, and they're very pleased with the foundation they were able to establish going into the final 2 days of minicamp.
Yep, Caldwell agreed that the players seemed to pick up things. He used the word that their concentration was really good, and that was for him a first step. And so it seemed like it went well in the relationship for the players and the coaches interacting with each other. And it's day one of a new regime, I guess.
Yep.
And we'll go from there.
Yep, day one's in the books. We'll be back here in Allen Park after the next 2 days of minicamp. For Justin Rogers, I'm Kyle Meinke. Keep it right here on MLive for all your Lions coverage.